Now we come to the main event of the evening. Blood and guts. Brian, I have a notation here. When this fiasco started, there were 42 minutes left in the program. And you just know they're going to have an overrun. So they are huffing their own methane to the point where they think that people were going to sit through almost an hour of this constant mayhem and phoniness and gimmickry after gimmickry. And I don't know what the ratings will bear out, but Jesus Christ, after you got 20 minutes in, you'd pretty much seen everything. They just started doing shit over again until the end when they did more shit. You want to give your thoughts, and then I'm just going to paraphrase a few of the things that took place here.
I don't really have too much to say. I'll give AEW credit. At least their War Games has a roof. At least it kind of has some of the rules and elements of the classic War Games, because I don't like the WWE version of what they call War Games. AEW's has more of that. However,
did the classic War Games have a Home Depot under the ring?
Well, I was going to say the problem is this is the thing that plagues every AEW big brawl like this. It becomes silly, it becomes comedy, it becomes weapons, it becomes trying to get oohs and ahs. We've seen a few times, and Anthony Bowen's here, guys take bumps because I guess they want the big pop, but when you see someone looking back to set up the bump, it doesn't really ring the same way. This was their big thing. They've been building up. Tony Khan got beat up by these guys. And it really didn't feel like that big of a deal. And it was all over the place. It was a shit show. I thought the staple spots specifically and the scissors to the mouth of Jack Perry were spots that were kind of pretty big turnoffs in terms of what would make you want to watch something else on another channel. But this is what they've been building up for. It was quite the spectacle. It went a long, long time. And I'm sure more thoughts will come to me as you're talking about it.
Well, I just made shorthand notes. They started with a chair shot and a power bomb into the cage. And 30 seconds in...
Who started?
Oh, I'm sorry. Jungle Jackoff and Darby Allin. They were the first two, and they were using the stairs within 30 seconds, and Darby took a bump over the railing onto a young lady in the front row. Stephen Pinu. We'll talk more about him in a minute. They went to the back of the arena because you can come and go in this thing in various fashions. They hadn't even gotten in the cage to start. They started the fight and fought all over the arena, but then later on, they're just going to get wire cutters. So they got a garbage can in the ring. They got a rope. The next one out was Nikki of the Lollipop Guild. He came out with a chair and a suitcase. And I think he got some element of the groaning boos also. And they beat up Darby.
It hit me here just how small everyone was.
Well, yes, let's see. You got Jack Perry, you got Darby Allin. Right there's 300 pounds. Then you got Nikki. Now you're up to 65, 70. So it's 3 allegedly full-grown men that don't weigh 500 pounds. And at least then Mark Briscoe came in. He's full-grown. He made a comeback. He fires the crowd up. At least he gets the idea that maybe we ought to make this exciting instead of just stupid. But then he throws the ladder in the ring and beat him up with a ladder. So now we got a ladder in there. And then Maddie came out with a title belt and another suitcase. And then they started bleeding. Mark was bleeding. And they beat Darby up over and over. I saw a crutch in the ring. Somebody must be mad at Anthony Bowens. When he came in, he made started making a comeback, and they just shut him down in seconds. And then the other faces got up and made a comeback that was longer than the fresh guys. And then we had Darby jump off onto one of the buckaroos with the thumbtack skateboard. And then you mentioned the scissors. Bowens got a pair of scissors and stabbed Jungle Jack off in the head with them 12 times and then put him across his mouth like they were trying to cross-face him with the scissors. Of course, he didn't end up with a Glasgow smile, so the scissors must have been fake, because he also didn't... He got a pap smear of blood from his head off of being stabbed repeatedly by a grown man with viciosity 12 times in the head with the point of the scissors. Cody came in with a street sign that said Rainmaker Drive, and all the baby faces had to run into him to let him hit him because he's not athletic enough to go after him anymore. More notes. Max Caster came in, made a comeback with his microphone and his bling chain and a chair, and then went looking under the ring and got the barbed wire board out. Here's another thing. Yes, there's another use for a chair, another use for a crutch, another use for a garbage can. But what is that? What is a barbed wire board? What is its practical everyday use? Why would it be under there?
If you're asking me, I've never seen one outside of wrestling ever.
Exactly. So what the... And they not only hip tossed, but then body slammed Bowens onto the barbed wire board, then put another barbed wire board on top of him, and then did a senton onto that board and sandwiched him. And Brian, you notice something about the barbed wire? Apparently it's fucking fake, because all that happened and his body was not bleeding. You've attempted to climb over at some point in your life real barbed wire, have you not?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Well, it don't work that way, does it?
I would presume not.
Well, I can guarantee you not. And then they put thumbtacks in Caster's mouth and super kicked him. And then they played Hangnail Page's music, but he didn't come out. And when everybody was distracted, the baby faces made their comeback. And then Swerve's music plays. And Hangnail jumped him from behind with a chair and then handcuffed him to the outside of the cage and beat him up. Punched him, if I'd have counted, probably about 70, 80 times. And then Maddie stopped everything by getting on the microphone and telling Page that if he didn't get in the ring, he was fired. And so Page gets in the ring, and then Maddie makes the referee ring the bell. Well, if either one of these guys can tell the referee what to do, why are they even having the fucking match? And apparently Tony Khan is okay with it because he never argues with these people, even though he makes every other match on the goddamn program. And then now the match is officially underway. Now, at this point. So then, by the time they come back from a break, one of Swerve's handcuffs said he's out of it. I don't know what happened. And Jeff Jarrett comes out and breaks a guitar over Brandon Cutlet's head. And then Jeff and Billy Gunn get bolt cutters and cut Swerve loose, and they get wire cutters. And Swerve cuts the wire and gets in the cage and makes a big comeback. And then everybody lays there on the ground and watches Swerve and Page fight for a while. And then everybody did something to everybody else. And then Swerve gets a staple gun, which we've seen this stupid shit before. But this time, Maddie opens one of the suitcases that he brought out, and they pull out 5 staple guns. And they all start stapling Swerve, and obviously they're not loaded, because they're all 5 of them, and they're just shooting it, boom, boom, boom. And Swerve starts laughing about it and gets one of the staple guns and staples everybody else, and that's a break spot. And in the break, somehow they all got out of the cage and they were fighting in the entranceway. And they've got 2 or 3 tables in the cage now, and they've set up 4 on the floor, 2 beside each other, 2 stacked on top of them. And that's where they knock Bowens off the side of the cage through 3 of the 4 tables. One of them didn't cooperate. And it was like when that fat fucking useless Luther, when he took his pirouette swan dive off the goddamn stage a few weeks ago, it's like they get hit and then they look back and then they leap off it. It's fucking hokey as fuck. And that takes him out of the deal.
Sammy did that too. Didn't he do it in one of these War Games matches?
Yes. It's all because they're so high up. They got to pay attention to where they're going. They just can't make it look real, but they don't care because they're stupid and they're not professional. And their small group of fans eats this shit up like it's ice cream. Oh, look, he broke something. So at that point, that was 10 o'clock. So we're 42 minutes into this fucking thing. And then more people got put through tables. And Darby did a coffin drop off the roof of the cage onto Jungle Jack off on a fucking table. And then the other suitcase had handcuffs in it. And they handcuffed Jungle Jack off to the cage stretched out like the crucifixion symbolism. And Mark Briscoe wore him out with a kendo stick and then crowned him right over the fucking head with a chair. And I don't really have any sympathy because I don't think the guy's got a brain in his head anyway, but if he did, it wouldn't be working today as a result of it. He's an empty-headed dipshit anyway. We've got that on authority of Dr. CM Punk.
Well, some people did jump on this, including briefly before it was deleted in a tweet, Corey Graves just criticizing taking that kind of chair shot. AEW's defense, apparently, I believe I read from Dave Meltzer, was that the chair was sawed down. Whatever that means.
I'm sorry, no, what?
The chair was sawed down.
Okay, I've never... Number one, it was a metal chair.
Yes.
And what are sawed down? It didn't matter how tall it was or how long it was. It's the hardness of the chair and the hardness of the shot over the head with the chair, which looked pretty goddamn good. It made the dull thudding sound like a piece of something hard hitting an empty object. So it wasn't a foam rubber chair. And how would you saw a chair down to make the impact lessen?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyway, I've worked a lot of magic and seen a lot of magic worked with a lot of ordinary household items to make gimmicks, but I've never heard of sawing a chair down.
Can you gimmick the chair? Because I see here, someone sent me that, but I'm not seeing that in the Observer. In the Observer, he says, while the chair may have been gimmicked, this stuff shouldn't be allowed.
Well, remember the story with Dusty and Big Bubba? Dusty wanted Klondike Bill to gimmick the wooden chair so that it would break over Bubba's head, and he forgot to gimmick it. It broke anyway. You can gimmick a wooden chair. I don't know, unless you're going to make a folding chair out of some lighter weight material or there's some padding process that I'm not aware of. I don't see how you can gimmick a metal chair. We shall see.
We shall see. And again, I'm not seeing any place. The thing I sent, I don't want to say that Dave definitely said they sawed down the chair if it's not here. I don't see it.
I mean, did they loosen up the screws that hold the seat in so it would flip easier? That still doesn't soften the blow. It just makes the reaction of the chair to the blow look more picturesque. But nevertheless, Darby goes under the ring and gets a can of gasoline in quotation marks, and a lighter, and goes and pours the gas on old Jungle Jack. And he turns around and he can't find the microphone. He's like, somebody give me the mic. And finally, he says, I'm going to light you on fire unless you give me a title match at All In and quit. And now again, they've just turned this Weasel Perry heel. And he's one of the smaller guys in the company. And he's very effete looking himself. And you would think that he would be a cowardly little obnoxious heel, right? But no, he's up there crucified on the cage. He's already bleeding. He's got gas poured on him and they're going to set him on fire, but he will not capitulate. He won't give it. He will not negotiate with the terrorists. He said, fuck you. So now Matty is down on his knees in front of Darby Allin, begging with him, pleading with him, please. Okay, you've got the match. So now Matt Jackson is making matches in the middle of a match on behalf of AEW where they're fighting Team AEW, even though they're vice presidents of AEW. And if he wanted a match that bad, Darby, with Jungle Jack, why didn't he goddamn just go to Tony Khan, who doesn't need to be threatened or coerced? He just gives the baby faces the matches they want.
We've literally seen people say that they want a match, and he'll say, that's a good idea, you got it.
In 7 seconds. No, so Matt says, don't light him on fire, you got the match. And then Darby tells little Matt, tell him to say I quit or I'll light him on fire. And then he says, you say I quit or I'll light him on fire. And then there's back, I already said it. We'll say it again. We quit. So this fucking 45-minute panorama of every obnoxious, phony, fake, stupid, silly, indie level garbage wrestling match that was chaos from start to finish ended with an extended promo in the ring with nobody doing anything to anybody. And now here, before I open this up to the floor for questions and comments, Brian, I said I had a lot of questions in the logic and the loopholes. And the biggest one is, the last time they set this same guy on fire with a flamethrower, and he came back to win the match. Jungle Jackoff, right? They set him on fire with a flamethrower. He came back and he won the last 5-on-5 garbage match 2 months ago. Why would he now be impressed or intimidated by a half gallon of gasoline and a Bic lighter? Your thoughts?
Why would the heel refuse to give up no matter what?
He's got principles, damn it.
The booking of this was out of control. You wonder how much is Tony, how much are the Jacksons? But the finish was not only a big fart in the face of the fans, because it was just an awful finish to a War Games match, but Jack Perry, unless they're about to turn him babyface, and why would you do that right away, even though he's ineffective as a heel, or ineffective as a heel, whatever the fuck it is.
It's ineffective.
Ineffective, I was right.
Feckless.
You know, this was one of the worst War Games I've ever seen. Again, and now with AEW, every War Games you see, they end up on top of the cage, they have to go out of the cage, you need weapons. You didn't need to used to have to do all that. Also, the crowd would be loud. They had their moments and their pops and their oohs and ahs. There were moments of silence. The crowd didn't react at all to Matt Jackson getting in the ring. Go watch that.
Well, yeah, generally the silence comes from one of the Cucamonga kids.
Yeah. And Jack Perry presented as a babyface there at the end. I guess we're going to get Swerve and Adam Page at Wembley, if I had to guess.
No, I think we're getting Swerve and goddamn Danielson.
Oh, that's right. We are getting Swerve and Danielson. Yeah. Huh. All right, well, I'm glad he beat the shit.
It'd be better than Swerve and Page again.
Well, it seemed like that's where they were going when he beat the shit out of Swerve, in the match here.
Everybody beats Swerve up.
No, this was excessive and too much. And again, it's one thing if it's all of that and they're like big guys that you think would be in a fight like this. Look at the Jacksons and Jack Perry. It's ridiculous. Bowens blew it kind of on that spot with the looking back because everyone noticed it. What else could I say about this match?
Well, I mean, you know,
Darby's established that skateboard, so I got no problem with him using that. That's actually just some stupid thing that's been established. But even the thumbtacks in someone's mouth, we've seen that before.
Well, yeah. Well, besides that, did you see that Maddie was bleeding worse from the thumbtack skateboard than when they sandwiched the guy in what was purported to be barbed wire? It's ridiculous. It's phony. It's just a stunt show to gratify the small number of people that go to see these assholes just continue to do stunts. And I guarantee you that these guys think they're so creative. None of them are sitting there thinking, what opponent could I have in this company? What angle could we do? What personal issue could we start that would lead to a program that would draw some money that could build to this? They're thinking up shit to fall off of and shit to break and stunts to do and falls to take. That's all they think about. They don't think about how to make the business bigger because they don't care. They get the same thing regardless. They're marks themselves. They think, how can I have more fun and do a wow, cool thing? And then I can bring all my friends over to the house and we can watch the video of me falling off the roof through a flaming fucking toilet seat. Head first. Whatever. That's what they're doing. Nobody is bothering to think about how to build themselves and their business. They're thinking of fucking bumps to take.
Well, to clarify what I said earlier, when Dave Meltzer commented on Corey Graves' tweet, which has been deleted, he wrote, I know he deleted the tweet, but I was thinking the same thing. Even with a shaved-down chair, there are far too many wrestlers over the decades who have had issues later in life.
A shaved-down chair? You said a sawed-off chair.
I said sawed off.
Down.
Yeah, I meant
whatever,
shaved down. But still, what's that?
What the fuck? What is that? That means they grind the seat down to where it was thinner? Dude, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, what tool does that?
Well, get us one of those seat shaving fucking grinders down at Home Depot. We'll wait. But that's and what do you follow this with in 2 more months? What kind of? We're gonna put them on a goddamn thing that's floating in the middle of fucking shark-infested waters. Yeah.
Well, that was AEW Dynamite.